Welcome back to the channel, everyone. We've got 9 more drivers waiting to take their turn at the Elevation Trail, but it seems my co-host is still a bit grumpy about last week's results.
Hey, at least when you lost to Numbskull last time in your Solero, you did get used for target practice.
Hey 905, what's small, flat black, and full of holes?
Come on, that's a low blow. That's not funny.
Well, maybe just lay off the Tina comments and I'll let this go.
Still can't believe you guys made me watch.
They're your rules. Anyways, we gotta get rolling. Tina's ready, so let's see who makes up the numbers for Group 6.
And look who Tina chose for Group 6. Mr. Dark from Dubious Diecast and Dark Horse is going up against Old Sarge and Blood Oath, a Chevy Suburban, and they'll be paired up with Raw Sun God with Axe to Grind and Solid Muscle. Oof, not the start that these guys were looking for, but none of them were giving up an inch. Sergeant Dark immediately banged doors with Raw, and that sends everybody into the guardrail, effectively ending everybody's lap. Dark continues to press the matter while it looks like Old Sarge gives up, and then Raw is the one that actually comes away with a little bit of momentum, but unfortunately gets caught up in the gap in the course. If Raw had a little bit more of momentum, he'd have been able to cross that gap no problem, but his big axe gets stuck in the course, and that's it for him.
Man, that was a rough ride. I gotta go check on Raw, so hang tight, I'll be right back. Visually, Raw, your armor's a bit dented, but you should be okay for the next round. Let's go.
It's a brutal start for all 3 of these drivers, but it's Raw Sun God that has the advantage after 1.
Well, that's one way to score points. Mr. Dark and Raw Sun God bang doors just before the jump, and Dark actually squeaks ahead. But after the jump, it's like Dark brake checks Raw Sun God, and then they play bumper tag all the way down across the line. I think Dark might be playing some games with Raw Sun God here, as he just will not let him pass. As we go to the overhead, you can see that Dark is already in the process of brake checking Raw Sun God, and it's Old Sarge who should have had a clean run on the other side, who just can't get over that hump.
This is not the time to play it safe and cautious. Although, it did score Raw Sun God and Mr. Dark with big points. Old Sarge, you better do something now or forever hold your pieces.
Well, whoever moves on from this group better get their steering columns rechecked, because leaving easy points on the table like that is never a good scene. Old Sarge decides he's going to just absolutely run Raw Sun God into the boards there at the top just after the gate drops.
Well, just because you are out of range of Tina doesn't mean you're out of range of the firing squad.
And with lap 3 complete, it might actually just come down to who scored those extra points for putting asterisks next to their name and RLD. Mr. Dark tops the group, and with the extra 3 points, well, it's still not enough for Old Sarge, as his 13 is bottom of the barrel. Old Sarge, you have been eliminated. We'll see how these scores plug into the big board. Mr. Dark finds himself in 8th spot with his 23. Raw Sun God, he's got a logjam happening with a couple of other drivers at 20, and Old Sarge, well, I'm sorry, buddy.
What is Ajax doing?
It looks like he's playing with his crane.
Okay, Randy, just a little bit more.
Where did those cars come from anyways?
They came from one of the other drivers for target practice.
Why is Ajax piling them up right there?
Probably because we're getting ready for the next group.
And here we go for Lucky Group 7. It's Walter from Maple Sugar Motorsports in Eat Ice going up against Carl Recht from HSL Motorsports in the Slambulance. And they're going to take on the Demon Preacher in Apocalyptic Killbox, a Jeep Wagoneer. And I think I'm seeing deja vu, because didn't this just happen in the last lap? Walter and Demon Preacher slam into Carl Recht, but it's Demon Preacher who actually ends up worse for wear on that one. He's up and over up at the 2 line. Whereas Walter and the Slambulance get down to the bottom of the course, but then are foiled by the actual pond as they both skid out. And I think Walter actually takes out one of my trees. It's a good wheel-to-wheel battle over the jump by Walter and Carl Recht. And then they get down to the pond and it all goes wrong as they both skid out just before the finish line. And I'm sure if that tree wasn't in the way for Walter, he'd have taken out a lot more than just that. And style points for Carl Recht for his slide.
Is that sign on your push bar figurative or literal? Randy, that's not a food truck. Just get Walter back on his wheels, okay? I'll get you coffee later.
Well, that race was worth the price of admission right there. Carl Recht and Walter on top with 9. Demon Preacher's got to step it up.
Oh, and well, Walter and Carl Recht get some unfinished business get taken care of. Demon Preacher has a wide open track and he miffs it right at the pond. It's amazing how last lap, Walter and Carl Recht spun out at the pond, and this time it's Demon Preacher. He comes down, hits the same tree as Walter, and puts it in the same spot as Carl.
I don't know what you put in your truck there, Walter, but holy smokes, I gotta get the crane to help you out.
And after 2 laps, the scores are tighter than a toddler's grip on a piece of candy he shouldn't be eating. 1 point separates all 3 drivers. So it all comes down to lap 3.
And that was a highlight reel slam if I've ever seen one. The Slambulance puts his clip into the edge of the jump, and he goes up and over. Holy smokes! Demon Preacher looks like he's got a good run on, but then puts his clip into the snowbank after the jump, and Walter looks like he's got some personal vendetta against that tree. The overhead shows that Demon Preacher may have had a hand in causing the Slambulance to flip like that, and I don't think I'm ever going to grow tired of watching that. Demon Preacher may have just predicted the apocalypse on his front clip for Carl Recht there, as boom, he goes up and over. And as we watch this one more time, we got to check on Carl to see if he's all right.
Walter, for the love of graphite, what is it about this tree that you don't like? And why are you so heavy?
Now that's how you end a group. And with lap 3 complete, Walter's 9 points puts him on top. Now, with the fact that we've also got those 3 extra bonus points, Walter and Demon Preacher follow instructions, and that'll add to their scores, where Carl didn't put his asterisks. He's going to end up with 17 points, and Carl Recht is going to be eliminated. And it looks like Shotgun Cowboy's 35 points is going to be unreachable at this point. Walter's 24 sits him in between Fred D and Mr. Dark. Demon Preacher adds to the logjam at 20, and the Slambulance gets an X.
Hey, 905, I figured out why Walter's truck was so damn heavy. Turns out Walter's a baby mammoth. I found him wandering around the Tim Horton sign up here looking for a coffee truck. I don't know what happened to ours, but oh buddy, hey, settle down. We'll get to the next group. Just hold on. I'll get you some.
Good lord, it's like a damn zoo around here. Alright, Group 8, here we go. Iron Poet and Grinder of Big Air Bel Air is going up against Landlines from no particular name racing in his price pick. I don't know. Riggins from Declan's Diecast is in his GMC work truck. Let's go up to the top of the hill for Group 8, Race 1. It's a brilliant start for Iron Poet and Riggins. Iron Poet blitzes the top half of the course and gets to the jump first. And seeing that Riggins is right there close to him, cuts a beeline across the field to see if he can just cut him off, but looks like Riggins missed a gear or something. He still gets across the line though for big points. The question is what happened to Landlines. So as we go back to the overhead, you can see that Iron Poet and Riggins navigate the jump, but Landlines goes all cockeyed and he's up and over. The finish line cam shows how close Iron Poet came to disaster, and Declan comes across the line.
It looks like there's going to be a battle between Iron Poet and Riggins. They're out front after one.
And it's another great battle between these three drivers, but it's Landlines who loses out on this one, as Iron Poet and Riggins bounce him right out of contention before the jump. Iron Poet then turns his attention to Riggins, putting him into the wall, and that's his race done. The overhead shows that these two guys are not messing around, and Iron Poet actually turns into Riggins just at the line going over the jump. That's dirty.
After 2 laps, it looks like Iron Poet's starting to run away with this thing. Riggins is not that far behind, but Landlines is quickly becoming a side note in this race.
That almost seemed deliberate by Riggins to put Landlines into the wall just after the 2-point. I guess figuring his spot in the second round is safe, he lets Iron Poet have a free run at the course, but even Iron Poet can't get it right.
If I didn't know any better, I'd say you're relief on the wind, Landlines, but that Riggins got you good.
For what it's worth, Landline's spear may have been a good idea, but it was a wash. And that last lap definitely did not do him any favors. We're going to go to the extra points, and Iron Poet's the only one that didn't get extra points. However, with 9 points scored in the racing, an extra 3 aren't going to do very much. Landlines has been eliminated. It was a great run by Iron Poet, and that puts him up into third just behind Dutch. Riggins slots in at the 11th spot, and I'm sure there's a couple of drivers breathing a sigh of relief as Landline brings up the rear with his 12.
Well, last episode we got a bunch of ties. This episode we got a bunch of losers. And when you lose, guess what happens?
That's right, 905. Here we go. Ready, aim,
Fire!
That was a tad dramatic, don't you think?
My race, my rules. Remember? You said that.
I don't think I remember saying that exactly.
Well, Puff and Sarge can breathe a little bit easier because they're no longer bottom of the barrel for the yellow snow.
You're like hangry. Do you need a Snickers?
No, I'm not hangry. Okay, well, maybe a little.
There you go. Come on, let's go find Walter.
Okay, well, let me just sign off first. I've been your host, 905. You've been watching the Chowhounds Gaslands Open from 905 Diecast. Thank you for watching. We'll see you again next time.
Who's a good baby mammoth? Walter's a good baby mammoth. Yes, you are. Yes, you are.